Imagine waking up one day with the feeling that your life could be so much more, yet somehow you remain stuck. You have dreams, ideas, ambitions, and a deep sense that something great is possible for you, but at the same time, there is an invisible force holding you back, a quiet resistance inside you that keeps you from moving forward. What if the real obstacle is not the world around you, but a hidden pattern inside your own mind, a psychological force that has influenced countless people across generations? Understanding this force could completely transform the way you see yourself, your decisions, and your place in the world. The famous psychologist Carl Jung spoke about a powerful archetype that exists inside many people. He called it the Puer Aeternus, a Latin term that means the eternal child. This archetype represents the part of the human personality that longs to remain young forever. It is the dreamer, the explorer, the creative spirit that wants freedom and endless possibilities. At first glance, this sounds beautiful. After all, who would not want to stay curious, imaginative, and full of energy? The eternal child brings creativity, inspiration, and the courage to dream big. It is the voice inside us that imagines a better future and believes that anything is possible. However, beneath this bright surface lies a hidden struggle. The same energy that inspires dreams can also create fear of responsibility. The eternal child often avoids commitment, discipline, and the difficult realities of adulthood. Instead of building a life step by step, it prefers to live in possibilities rather than in action. Many people today unknowingly live under the influence of this archetype. They constantly dream about what their life could be, but they hesitate to take the necessary steps to make those dreams real. They want freedom, but fear commitment. They want success, but resist the effort and patience required to achieve it. You might recognize this pattern in yourself. Perhaps you have had moments when you imagined a perfect future but felt unable to begin the journey toward it. Maybe you started projects with excitement but abandoned them when they became difficult. Or perhaps you constantly search for new experiences, new plans, and new ideas while avoiding stability and long-term responsibility. This tension between dreaming and acting is one of the central themes of the eternal child. It whispers promises of a perfect life somewhere in the future, yet it often prevents us from fully engaging with the life we already have. Over time, this can lead to feelings of emptiness, confusion, or dissatisfaction. Carl Jung believed that the problem is not the presence of the eternal child itself. The problem appears when this archetype dominates our personality without balance. When the childlike desire for freedom becomes stronger than our willingness to grow, we remain trapped in a state of psychological adolescence. According to Jung, the goal is not to destroy the eternal child, but to integrate it. Integration means learning how to use its creativity and energy while also developing the maturity and responsibility of the adult self. When these two aspects work together, they create a powerful balance that allows a person to dream and act at the same time. To understand why this archetype has such influence, we need to look deeper into the human psyche. Jung believed that all humans share what he called the collective unconscious. This is a deep layer of the mind that contains universal symbols and patterns that shape human behavior. Archetypes like the eternal child exist in this shared psychological space. The eternal child represents a universal longing for innocence and possibility. It reminds us of a time in life when the world seemed full of wonder, a time before responsibilities and limitations became part of everyday existence. This longing for endless possibility is deeply human, and in many ways it keeps our imagination alive. But when we cling too strongly to this longing, it can become a trap. A person may become so attached to the idea of a perfect future that they struggle to accept the imperfect reality of the present. Instead of building something real, they remain in a cycle of planning, dreaming, and escaping. A powerful metaphor for this pattern appears in the ancient Greek myth of Icarus. According to the story, Icarus and his father Daedalus escaped from captivity using wings made of feathers and wax. Before their flight, Daedalus warned his son not to fly too close to the sun, But Icarus, filled with excitement and ambition, ignored the warning. As he flew higher and higher, the heat of the sun melted the wax in his wings and he fell into the sea. This myth reflects the danger of uncontrolled youthful ambition. Like Icarus, the eternal child wants to fly freely and reach the highest possibilities. But without wisdom and discipline, that same ambition can lead to disappointment or collapse. In modern life, this pattern appears in many subtle ways. Some people constantly change careers because they lose interest when challenges appear. Others avoid serious relationships because they fear losing their independence. Some chase endless entertainment and distraction instead of facing meaningful work. Our modern culture often reinforces this behavior. Society frequently celebrates youth, freedom, and instant pleasure while ignoring the value of patience and long-term commitment. Social media, advertising, and entertainment constantly show images of perfect lives, exciting adventures, and effortless success. This creates the illusion that life should always feel exciting and easy. When reality requires effort and responsibility, many people feel disappointed or trapped. Instead of adapting and growing, they escape into fantasy, distraction, or constant change. Jung believed that true psychological growth requires something deeper. He described a lifelong process called individuation. Individuation is the journey of becoming a complete and integrated person. It involves recognizing all parts of the personality, including the light and the shadow, and bringing them into harmony. For someone influenced by the eternal child, individuation begins with self-awareness. It requires the courage to ask honest questions. What responsibilities am I avoiding? What fears keep me from committing to my goals? What patterns in my life repeat again and again? These questions are not meant to create guilt or shame. Instead, they help illuminate the unconscious patterns that guide our behavior. When we become aware of these patterns, we gain the ability to change them. One of Jung's most famous insights explains this clearly. He once said that until we make the unconscious conscious, it will direct our lives and we will call it fate. In other words, many of our struggles are not random. They are the result of hidden psychological forces operating beneath our awareness. A simple but powerful tool for self-awareness is reflection. Writing in a journal, for example, can help reveal patterns in our thoughts and behavior. By observing our fears, our dreams, and our choices, we begin to understand the deeper motivations behind them. Mindfulness is another valuable practice. When we pause and observe our thoughts without judgment, we create space between impulse and action. Instead of immediately escaping difficulty, we can explore the emotions that arise. This awareness allows us to respond consciously rather than react automatically. At the same time, integration also means nurturing the positive qualities of the eternal child. Curiosity, creativity, and imagination are essential parts of a meaningful life. Without them, adulthood can become rigid and lifeless. The goal is balance. The child within us provides vision and inspiration. The adult within us provides discipline and stability. Together, they create the ability to transform dreams into reality. Consider the example of an artist. Creativity often comes from a playful and curious mindset similar to that of a child. But completing a meaningful work of art requires patience, practice, and dedication. When creativity is combined with discipline, inspiration becomes achievement. This same principle applies to every area of life. Dreams alone are not enough. Responsibility alone is not enough either. True growth appears when imagination and commitment work together. Relationships also play an important role in this process. The eternal child often fears vulnerability because deep relationships require honesty, patience, and emotional responsibility. Yet it is through genuine connection that many people discover deeper meaning in life. When we allow ourselves to be seen and supported by others, we learn important lessons about trust, empathy, and commitment. These experiences help balance the independence of the child with the maturity of the adult. Perhaps the most powerful realization about the eternal child is this: freedom and responsibility are not enemies. In fact, they depend on each other. Real freedom does not come from avoiding responsibility. It comes from choosing responsibilities that align with our values and dreams. When we commit to something meaningful, our actions gain direction and purpose. A life guided only by freedom can become chaotic and empty, but a life guided by meaningful responsibility can create lasting fulfillment. In many ways, the journey of integrating the eternal child resembles the ancient idea of alchemy. Alchemists once believed they could transform ordinary metals into gold. Symbolically, this process represents personal transformation. Through patience, effort, and dedication, something ordinary becomes something valuable and refined. The same transformation can occur within the human psyche. When the dreamer and the builder inside us learn to cooperate, life begins to change. Dreams stop being distant fantasies and start becoming real achievements. At that moment, the eternal child no longer holds us back. Instead, it becomes a powerful ally. Its imagination reminds us of what is possible, while our adult self gives us the strength to bring those possibilities into existence. Ultimately, the lesson of the eternal child is not about abandoning youth. It is about guiding it. It is about honoring our dreams while also accepting the work required to realize them. When we reach this balance, something remarkable happens. Life becomes both playful and meaningful. We continue to explore, create, and imagine, but we also build, contribute, and grow. And perhaps that is the true secret of personal transformation. The child within us dreams of the future, while the adult within us creates it. Together they form the complete human being we are meant to become.